Today, we're introducing a real murder case that happened on campus in the United States. In 2017, the sudden disappearance of an international student at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign caused worldwide attention. After the police's efforts, the murderer was finally arrested, but the victim's body has still not been found until today. This well-known criminal case was the kidnapping and murder of Ying Zhang. Illinois is located in the Midwest of the United States. Every year, many international students from Asia choose to study in the state of Illinois. The victim in the case, Ying Zhang, studied at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, the university with the largest number of Chinese students in the United States. She was born in an ordinary family in China in December 1990. Her father is an ordinary driver, her mother is an ordinary housewife, and she has a younger brother who dropped out of middle school. Although the family is not rich, Miss Zhang has been very high-spirited since she was a child. During her school years, she managed to obtain scholarships many times to help reduce the financial pressure for her parents. She graduated from Sun Yat-sen University with a bachelor's degree in 2013 and a master's degree from Peking University in 2016. She dreamed that she could study abroad one day to expand her knowledge. In April 2017, when Miss Zhang was 27 years old, she went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign as a visiting scholar for further academic research. Miss Zhang is an excellent, well-behaved, and positive girl. She originally planned to marry her boyfriend soon so she could form her own family and start a life of her own. However, all her promising life was shattered by a coming nightmare. On Friday, June 9, 2017, Miss Zhang was still busy in the school laboratory as usual. However, at noon that day, she told her friends that she would go out for about 2 hours in the afternoon to sign an apartment rental contract with the rental agency. Because she currently lived in the on-campus student apartment, which is quite expensive, she had found a cheaper apartment off-campus and planned to sign the rental contract. Then in the afternoon, she went back to the student apartment for a while and set off on the bus alone for the appointment with the agency. At 2:35 p.m., the rental agent noticed she had not come and sent her a text message, but there was no reply from her. Around 4 p.m., her friend found that Miss Zhang hadn't come back, feeling a little strange and worried. As time went on, her friends tried to reach her through her cell phone, but her phone remained unanswered. They went to the apartment where she lived to check and found that there was no one inside. She only came to the United States for a few days. She didn't know anyone else, except for her friends and professors around the school. The friends immediately told the professors about the situation. In the evening, Miss Zhang hadn't come back. Her friends and professors became more and more worried. They all hoped that she would come back as soon as possible. At 9:24 p.m. that day, Miss Zhang still did not come back, so they chose to call the police. However, apart from this information, no one knows where she is going. The next day, her friend immediately contacted the local newspaper and posted the missing person information about Miss Zhang. The police immediately retrieved the surveillance video footage of the bus and nearby buildings, and soon they found something new. According to the surveillance, at about 1:35 p.m. on June 9, Miss Zhang took the city bus in Urbana to the off-campus apartment she wanted to rent. She expected to be late because she had to take 2 bus transfers to get to the said apartment from where she lived that time. So at 1:39 p.m., she messaged the rental agents, informing them that she might be a little later than the agreed appointment time, saying that she will arrive around 2:10. At 1:52 p.m., she intended to transfer to another bus, but did not know where the bus stop is. About 4 minutes later, because of the urgent time, she tried to stop a bus, but the driver did not seem to see her and drove past her. At this time, she seemed very anxious because she missed the bus and didn't know how long she would have to wait for the next one. She then walked a few blocks away to another bus stop on the corner of another street. The bus stop there is located in front of the facilities of the School of Communication of the university. There are buses that can take her directly to the apartment building she wants to rent. However, the coming decision she made totally changed her life. At 2 p.m., a black sedan drove past her before turning back shortly after. At 2:03, the black sedan stopped at the place where she was waiting for the bus. After a brief conversation with the driver, she got into the car and sat in the front passenger seat. Since then, no one had seen her again. Due to the limited visibility of the surveillance footage, it was impossible to identify the license plate of the car and the driver's appearance. When she disappeared, Miss Zhang was wearing a dark gray baseball cap, a pink and white striped top, jeans, and white tennis shoes, and was carrying a black backpack. The case was soon handed over to the FBI for follow-up investigation. Following the clue of the black car, it was found that it was a black Saturn Astra car, which is a minority car type in the local area, and there are only 58 same cars throughout Illinois. After a preliminary investigation, 18 of them were found to be suspicious. The police immediately sent people to check and inquire, but no useful clues were found. Just as the police were at a dead end, some new clues came in. By repeatedly observing the vehicles in the surveillance video, they found that one vehicle was different from other vehicles. Not only does it have a sunroof, but it has an obviously broken notch at the hub shell of its right front wheel. Based on this feature, the police compared the previously inspected vehicles and immediately identified the major suspect in the case, Brent Christensen. Brent Christensen was born in 1989 into a middle-class family in Wisconsin. His father was a carpenter, his mother was a housewife, and he had an older brother and a younger sister. Brent was a bright, gentle boy and grew up in a privileged environment. But later, his parents divorced. When he was a teenager, Brent was no different from ordinary people. In the eyes of others and his parents, he was a smart and friendly boy. He's excellent in high school. During university, he also participated in a research project on the Hadron Collider in Switzerland. After the project, he went to study at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and completed the master's program. He later became a teaching assistant in the school's physics department. Brent is married, but has a broken relationship with his wife. His current girlfriend was named Tara, a local from the Champaign community. The police immediately took Brent back to the police station for interrogation. Brent seemed very calm at first, saying that he had been playing games at home for the whole afternoon of June 9. However, when the police said they saw from the surveillance camera that he had given a ride to an Asian girl that day, he immediately became extremely nervous. He changed his words and said that he had made a mistake at the time, admitting that he did pick up an Asian girl that day, but dropped her off a few streets later. When the police continued to ask where the girl was taken, Brent remained silent, refusing to answer any questions from the police. The police had no choice but to detain him for 24 hours and let him go. However, the police are very sure that Brent is the murderer of the case, but they believe that Miss Zhang is still alive and may have been kidnapped by Brent to a certain place. If they let him go, there is still a chance to find Miss Zhang by following Brent. The police also searched Brent's apartment and the vehicle involved as a routine and took away his electronic devices, such as computers and mobile phones, as evidence. At this point, the police found Brent's girlfriend Tara and told her that Miss Zhang's disappearance might have something to do with Brent. Then they handed Tara 2 small monitoring devices. Tara loves Brent, and if doing so could prove Brent's innocence, she'll do it. Then the police monitored Brent's movements closely, hoping to find Miss Zhang's whereabouts. On June 17, Brent suddenly took the initiative to contact the police, re-explain what happened on June 9, tried to clear the suspicion, and took the police to re-walk the route that day. However, the police have already seen through this behavior. But day by day, the police still couldn't find any more clues about Miss Zhang's whereabouts from the surveillance on Brent. Just when the police were clueless, things took a turn for the worse. On June 29, in order to gain social attention, people organized a vigil for Miss Zhang on campus. Miss Zhang's relatives were also present, and everyone looked forward to finding her as soon as possible. The police learned through the recording that Brent deliberately brought his girlfriend to the scene and mixed with the crowd at the scene. The police also sent people there to follow and monitor. At this time, Brent seemed quite relaxed, and he thought he had gotten rid of the suspicion. Looking at the crowd praying for Miss Zhang, Brent was very fulfilled and said to his girlfriend he just wanted to see how many people came because of him. Throughout the event, Brent seemed to have no guilt and looked at the sad crowd with cold eyes. Even people at the venue enthusiastically gave comfort to the relatives, but Brent just sat and clapped his palms coldly. At this time, Brent's heart seemed very evil, and he even told his girlfriend that people should thank him for coming. It was because of him that people gathered here and even knew the details of his kidnapping and killing of Miss Zhang. He said that he always wanted to talk about this with others and that Miss Zhang's will to survive was incredible, and he took a long time to finally kill her. He said that they would never know where Miss Zhang was, only he knew. Brent also claimed he started killing at the age of 19, claiming 13 lives, and treating the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy as his idol, who brutally killed 35 people between 1973 and 1978. Tara shivered with fear while listening to Brent happily show off what he had done. But she managed to remain calm and continued to chat with Brent, trying to get as much detail as possible from Brent's mouth. Tara then replayed the information to the police, who decided to arrest Brent that night right after the vigil meeting. After Brent was arrested, he remained silent, refusing to plead guilty and to confide the whereabouts of Miss Zhang. The police believe that Miss Zhang has been killed at this time. Finally, based on the evidence submitted by the police, federal prosecutors decided to charge Brent with kidnapping and murder and ask for the death penalty on him. On June 12, 2019, after a lengthy investigation and evidence collection, the case was finally brought to a hearing in the Peoria Federal Court. The jury consisted of 12 jurors. In the American judicial system, Brent can only be sentenced to death if a jury of 12 members reaches a consensus. The prosecution released the audio and video recordings in court and roughly restored how Miss John was killed. On the day of the incident, Brent pretended to be a police officer to persuade John to get into the car and abduct her back to his apartment. After he raped her, he grabbed her by the neck, dragged her into the bathtub, hit her in the head with a baseball bat, and then stabbed her repeatedly. At that time, John was still breathing and tried to grab the knife in his hand, but she was brutally killed by Brent and was dismembered and abandoned somewhere. During the whole process, Miss John kept resisting and struggling, but she still couldn't escape from her tragedy. In addition to that, the police also found strong evidence in Brent's apartment based on the recordings. Through forensic technologies, the police found bloody footprints and suspicious bloodstains on the carpet, and some of them even seeped into the floor. There was also blood on the walls and mattress, and there is a bloody palm mark above the bed. The DNA test shows that the blood found in these places and the baseball bat belongs to Miss John. The police dogs also smelled the human remains in the green tank. The vehicle used in the kidnapping was also found to be heavily cleansed. After the search of his apartment, the police found many cleaning supplies suspected of being used to clean the bloodstains, such as brushes and sewer dredges, as well as knives, iron chains, ropes, and tapes used for the kidnapping. Meanwhile, through Walmart's surveillance video, the police found that Brent had purchased those supplies for cleaning the sewer, quick-drying towels, garbage bags, etc. On June 11, the police checked Brent's web browsing history on his phone and personal computer and found that he had been browsing information regarding kidnapping and rape on social networking sites just a few weeks before the murder. He even checked a group chat called Kidnapping 101, where someone shared how he kidnapped a woman and packed her into a large duffel bag before taping her mouth and putting her in the car trunk. He even read the article on human body decomposition and downloaded the pictures. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Brent quickly admitted to killing Miss John. On July 8, 2019, defense attorneys believed Brent had been taking sedatives and had a history of drug and alcohol abuse. 18 witnesses, including Brent's parents, relatives, childhood playmates, teachers, and his counselor, were called to testify about whether Brent was mentally disturbed to commit the crime. They also submitted a video of Brent's counseling at the university's counseling center in March. It is stated that Brent has the idea of harming others because of the breakdown of his marriage, unhappiness in his personal life, drug abuse, and alcoholism, in order to prove that Brent has been suffering from mental illness for a long time. During the period, defense lawyers also questioned the police's installation of recording equipment on Brent's girlfriend Tara and challenged the legality of wiretapping and the reliability of police search evidence. The defense even attacked the prosecution witness Tara was the reason why Brent resorted to extremes and the crime. However, the police said Brent's plan to kidnap women was premeditated. He kidnapped Miss John while his wife was away on weekends and raped her to death. It was not because of drug abuse, alcoholism, or mental illness that prompted him to hurt Miss John. In the chat with Tara, it was heard that Brent completely enjoyed the process of violence, and the methods were extremely cruel and outrageous. And so far, he has no remorse for the murder, refused to apologize to the victim's family, and declined to tell the police where the victim's body was hidden. After discussions, the jury could not reach an agreement on the death sentence for Brent. The judge asked the jury to continue the discussion and reminded them that if they could not reach an agreement, the death penalty would not be sentenced. On July 18, 2019, 10 of the 12 jury members supported the death penalty, but 2 of them were against it. Therefore, the death penalty could not be passed. In the end, Brent was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. After the trial, Brent later revealed to federal prosecutors that after killing Miss John, he put the body in 3 different garbage bags and threw it in a dumpster outside his apartment. John's body may end up in a Vermilion County landfill, but this landfill is the size of half a football field. 18 months have passed, and the height of the landfill is already 30 feet. It will take a lot of manpower and resources for the police to conduct a thorough search. But the police did not find his statement credible, given that he had given several false testimony, including his statement that he had claimed 13 people's lives because the police could not find other victims to prove that he had committed the crime. At this point in the case, Brent was finally punished by the law. Although under the current American legal system, it is indeed not an easy task to sentence Brent to death, but this result can be regarded as an explanation for the victim and her family. However, this result will hurt the families of the victims for a lifetime, especially when the victim's body could never be found. In fact, just a few hours before the incident that day, a girl at the University of Illinois also had such an experience. A man drives a black sedan and wears sunglasses, posing as a police officer to lure women into his car. But the girl was very vigilant. She saw at a glance that this was a fake police officer, refused to get in the car, and called the police. If Miss Zhang had seen the news at the time and chose not to enter the car, the story would not have ended like this. We also pray that one day in the future, John's body will be found and buried in her hometown. May the deceased rest in peace forever. This is Horror Mysteries. Enjoy and subscribe to know more mysteries around the world.